It's the Ministry of Podcast, Stephen Carter.
It's wonderful to see you.
As the Minister of
There's nothing
Podcast,
wrong with Corey's middle finger.
nothing wrong with Corey's middle finger.
I definitely didn't make you guys stop and start the recording again.
There's nothing wrong with his finger.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know why we're focused on this when we should be focusing instead on the Minister of Podcasts, who is me. And I have assembled this group after 5 long months of not recording the podcast.
Oh, shoot. I missed you guys.
You didn't, though, did you?
Did you?
No, not.
This is reminding me of all that. You know, we in the last 5 months, we've restarted an episode once. And I think that was
Once.
5 minutes ago.
It was 5 minutes ago.
Started the episode. Yeah, Corey. We missed
tell you what.
too. It's good.
Yeah.
The alternative start to this podcast is going to be available in our Discord to subscribers only.
No, it's not.
No,
it's not.
Yes, it is.
I don't know. I'm the minister.
Listen. Evan Solomon told me that everything gets stored in the cloud, and that guy knows what he's talking about.
Okay, fair ball.
Cloud. You know, that's
so. I mean,
you guys do it.
If this gets hacked, if we get hacked and it somehow winds up in our Discord, how are we to stop it, Corey? I mean, it's Evan Solomon's fault, is it not?
That's what I would say. In fact, that's the title of this episode. It's Evan Solomon's fault.
It's
now,
Evan
people will think
Solomon's
Corey said it, which is actually gives me great pleasure. But I think Carter, you and I both said it. It's Evan Solomon's fault.
Evan Solomon's fault.
Alternative and I think much better.
Listen,
intro of this podcast.
Do you want to?
You want to start with the scandal alert? The scandal alert music?
No. Before we do that, can we just check in on our friend and say, "Hey, Corey, how you doing? You seem a little tense."
You seem like you got something to lose, unlike Stephen or I.
It's amazing. You guys are amazing. Never change. Never change.
You
did make us change. I just want you to know.
I did make you change. I mean, after that time I made you change, never change for other people. Change for me. Never change for other people.
Yeah, that's good.
Carter, this is good. I think every episode has begun in this same energy, where Corey's like, "Oh fuck, what have I gotten into?
What have I done?"
And it takes about 46 minutes
it
to
always
begins, a 45-minute podcast.
With a certain amount of regret that I even agreed to do this. Yeah, that's true. It is fun.
Carter,
fun to be back.
You want to? I want to jump into scandal alert.
It's a massive scandal.
A scandal in Confederation.
Scandal in Confederation.
It's good. That's what's going on. Corey, how have you gotten yourself into this scandal?
Well, he's not going to explain it.
And what scandal are we talking about?
Yeah,
here?
let me jump in, and because
Carter,
he's not going to explain it right, he's going to be all like, he's going to put himself in the "I'm an angel, everything was fine."
He's going to minimize it. It's true.
Great. First of all, let's start off by pointing out that you can get flags from your member of parliament's office, right?
God.
So you can call them and they'll just give it to you. Just hundreds of them.
If we have them.
I did not think this is where the scandal would start. Okay, it's about
the
flags.
Scandal is Corey is picking and choosing winners and losers on who's going to get those flags. It turns out Corey is not the only member of parliament in Alberta. And he serves a restricted area called Calgary Confederation. But that's not known to the good people of Chestermere Lake Chestermere. The good people of Lake Chestermere think that Corey serves them as well, and they requested flags, several dozen flags, and Corey's office had the I don't even know what word to use.
Tenacity, temerity.
Temerity is the word.
Yeah,
temerity is the one I was looking for.
Thought you were reaching for. Yeah.
Temerity to say no to someone who doesn't live in their constituency, who's asking for multiple flags. But anybody who lives in Calgary Confederation, if you ask for just one, they by law have to say yes.
It's also not true.
Okay, Corey, I'll let you in here. And just to be clear, I know Carter didn't mention it, but they wanted Pakistani flags. Corey, over to you.
Okay, now aware of your scandal alert. There's a fellow who wanted some flags.
Canadian,
from the
just be
office.
clear.
Canadian flags, yeah.
Just to be clear.
And the office, we replied, we can't accommodate that. That's a pretty big request. It was 100 flags, to be clear. It was $3,000 worth of flags, which is fine. Like, you can ask. All we'll have to say is that we don't have the capacity to do that. Because every MP gets a certain allotment of flags, and you get about 50 a year, and we had about 2 years worth of allotment because there were a bunch left over. So we had about 100. We're down to truly like fewer than 10 at this particular moment because people are pretty passionate about the country at this moment. Lots have been given away. But yeah, somebody asked for flags from not the riding, 100 flags. We couldn't accommodate that. But the breakdown, Alberta, is pretty outraged that we couldn't provide 100 flags.
Nate Pike, slow.
Hey, and Nate, thanks for reaching out to the office and asking us what the situation was, validating the random tweet you saw on the internet. We appreciate you.
It's almost like a DM. Random tweet on the it's just like a DM. And Nate Pike, we're not expecting great things, but I mean the real scandal
I'm not getting
here.
in the middle of your beef here.
Yeah, but the real scandal. Can we jump in on the real scandal?
Yeah, go ahead.
You get 50 flags a year. 50 flags a year, and you serve over 120,000 people.
Let me just do the math. Okay, yeah. How many people do you serve? So you have 50 flags a year, and how many people? You have 120,000 people. Now, of those 50 flags, how many are ISIS? Just doing some quick math.
Okay,
here.
well, 0, thanks.
Okay, just 0. Right.
Yeah, they're all Canadian. Just to stop you from going through the list of various flags it might be, they're all Canadian flags.
What I'm hearing is if I request an American flag, I'm going to be disappointed.
You'll have to go to a different MP's office.
If I request an Alberta
which
flag.
MP, Corey? Hey, Corey, which MP? No, Carter. This is good.
Hold on, yeah.
Which MP's office? I mean, Andrew Scheer, of course.
Call around.
Is it David Bexty?
Just call around.
Is it David Bexty?
It's fine. Look, all great patriots. Keep moving.
It's good. Okay, well, quickly he said 0 to the ISIS flags. He had that number out.
It was like he knew that was a trap.
Before I could even finish the second S. I mean, it is two redundant words that are the same. So he knew.
Someone texted me the other day and called Corey a communications genius.
Yeah,
and
me too.
You could see that in the whole ISIS thing. You could see that. He denied it right away.
The way I headed that off. Yeah.
I want a slow motion of me finishing the word ISIS and him jumping in with 0. I want like a Usain Bolt start gun test to that. I think it's like good. 0.3 seconds. Of those 50 flags, how many are ISIS?
Well, 0, thanks.
Okay.
To your point, Stephen, we did hand out paper flags to every house and business in the riding. We said, hey, here's a flag. Put it up if you want.
Yeah, but I didn't get one because my wife got it. And I prefer that I get one. So can you make it to every individual instead of
rather than household?
Yeah, so I'd like 2 to our household, please.
All right. Well, that can be arranged, I'm sure.
Because they make great dog training mats. You can just unfold them, and if you put the word side up, the dogs can't read all those words.
Well, and there's a picture of my face on that side too.
And they piddle right away.
Yeah, that's good.
But I think it's genius the way that you make it so that people, when they tape the Canadian flag out, have to look at your picture all the time. Like, that's genius. Communication's
how the layout
genius.
Works, you know.
Carter, do you think Corey's going to get through this scandal? I have my doubts.
No, I think this is the beginning of the end.
Yeah, no, I think that this
is the beginning of the end. This is the biggest thing that's happened to him in 18 months of serving the good people of Calgary Confederation.
I think it's truly fantastic. People are looking for flags. And look, every MP gets a bunch. You should reach out to your MP if they have any. Go buy one. You can get them. They were on sale at Canadian Tire for, I think, $15 for certain size. The size I have is like $30 a size. And we usually give them to schools in the riding. Like in the fall, I dropped off a bunch. But it's great. Put up a flag. Put up a paper one if you're in the riding. You got the mailer. Do it.
Do you think that indoctrinating children into nationalism is an appropriate use of your time?
I do if it's Canada. Yeah, I do. Okay. It's all good. Yeah.
It's good. I want, again, communications genius is what people said to me.
Okay.
Like more than one. Multiple people.
Wow. That's what we call a brand there, Stephen. That's good. 2. Okay.
2 people.
Carter, what do you want to talk to our dear? I mean, we can do dealer's choice, and we can go.
Well, I mean, we should expand. I mean, we've kind of implied something here, but can we expand our controversy?
To ISIS. Yes, that is correct.
Can we expand our controversy to the separatist shit? I mean, Corey, you have, I think by accident, frankly, I don't think this is something that you chose, and you'll have to clarify that for us. But you, I think, by accident, have turned into Captain Canada in southern Alberta, and arguably most of Alberta. You seem to be getting the most interviews, the most discussions, and it's really paining me as someone who's running a third-party advertiser and should be getting those interviews How do you do it? And how can I?
Yeah. Oh my God. This is just
well,
fucking sycophantic. Okay.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
I'm taking notes. Hang on.
How are you getting media attention as a member of parliament?
Your campaign has the momentum of a runaway freight train. What is your secret? Yeah. Look, we're obviously in a weird moment in Canada, in Alberta, with this stupid referendum that's happening here. I think anybody who kind of listened to the pod a year ago knows that the reason I ran was because I was pretty concerned about, the lack of people who seemed willing to stand up for Canada. Like, I'll just say, like, Danielle Smith going down to Mar-a-Lago didn't sit well with me at the time. It doesn't sit well with me now, but certainly at the time. There was overall just kind of a general environment where Donald Trump was threatening Canadian sovereignty. So this is kind of the issue I ran on. Like, let's protect this country. Let's run on this country. And so I think a lot of why media have then reached out is to say, like, hey, you're the guy who ran on this. So what do you think about all of this? What are your thoughts? And I think that's kind of the natural answer there. That's the reason. But it's also a weird situation because for many, many months, and this is a province with a lot of conservative MPs, to state the obvious, right? I think a lot of the conservative plan was, well, and let me just be clear, I don't think it was a crazy plan. I mean, I didn't agree with it, but it wasn't a crazy plan. Like, well, there's no referendum yet. Let's not make a mountain out of a molehill. There's not actually a thing to respond to yet, so let's not respond. Let's be relatively quiet. And some of them even did kind of that language of, grievances, blah, both sides, blah, whatever they do in that case. So they entered the game a little bit late. I think that's the other part of the story. But I think, look, Eleanor and I think Matt Jenner, who have both also been pretty strong on the Canada stuff, and I think that there's some conservative MPs who have found their voice and been vocal. I'm glad Pierre Poilievre has, but yeah, I think a big part of it is just I was in the game early, right? This is something I was banging the drum on early.
Can I ask you, Corey, what do you... Go ahead, Carter. Go.
I'm intrigued that you've made this sound like, my picking up the TPA to fight for Canada is in fact following in your footsteps. And that pisses me off again. So can you just tell me for a second why I'm great and why the Alberta's Voice TPA is something that's different and distinct from your shadow?
Yeah. Well, you're a very good boy, Stephen, and you do very good things, and people are very proud of you.
Thank you.
Is this what happens when white people are broken? Is this what happens when you guys lack self-confidence? Am I witnessing? Like,
Listen, buddy, I don't know if you've known this, but I've been broken from the very first podcast.
Yeah.
I think that's why we started doing the podcast, because we were all broken.
That was kind of evidence of being broken.
That is true. What do you think your role is, Corey, in this constellation over the next 100 days? Is it probably less than 100 days?
Oh, it's way less than 100 days at this point.
Yeah,
look,
like between Carter's TPA, the NDP, obviously the Liberals, there's you literally in Confederation, right? What do you think your role is in the grand scheme of things here? And how much responsibility do you put on yourself, like to help with ensuring that the outcome is the outcome that you want?
I think it's literally my job in some fundamental sense, right? This is the job of any MP is to it's pretty fundamental. Like, we're talking about the existence of this country, and so I think it's important, and I think that's where effort needs to be put between now and October 19th. It's a weird one, right? Because you look at the Quebec referendums in 1980 and 95, there was a party that ran and got a mandate to hold a referendum, and then there was a yes campaign and there was a no campaign, and everything kind of slotted into it. That's not what's going on here. Here we have this absolute bizarre process where someone has used a citizen's initiative process, at least to kick it off. That's not how it ended up on the ballot, as we all know. The Premier and the UCP government decided to put it on when a court kind of struck it down. And so there's no yes campaign. There's no campaign. It's a bit of a free-for-all. Some people are captured by the rules. Some people are not captured by the rules. Spending by the NDP falls under the NDP's spending. Spending by Forever Canadian seems to somehow fall outside of it too, based on their conversations with Elections Alberta. One of the separatist groups, same deal. Others captured as TPAs, including Stephen, your own group there, right? It's a bit messy, and it's certainly way too messy for a question that's existential about Canada itself. Like, just from like a construction point of view, it doesn't seem like it was a very good process. Like, that's not really going out on a limb, but I just think it needs to be said, right? But if we're going to look at the positive within it all, it's that there is the opportunity for everybody to do their part in a way that's actually sometimes kind of hard when you've got these big mega committees and then the politics internal become a bit of a challenge, right? But Stephen Carter can start a group and he can talk about, not just stay in Canada, but no to the 9. The Alberta NDP can use their infrastructure in order to try to get the vote out. Everybody can participate in their own way. We can motivate to the polls the people who need to be motivated to the polls. Those who have more conservative voices, who are more likely get an audience with that conservative swing voter. And let's be clear, like, this is largely a conversation amongst conservatives. Like, basically 100% of New Democrats and Liberals are like, stay Canada. But they can talk to their audiences, and they can talk to their audiences using their language and their messaging. So, I mean, you ask what's my role? I think we all need to be asking what's our role. How can we persuade? How can we compel people to the polls? And certainly within my own orbit, and that's what I'm going to be trying to do over the next bit.
Are you going to, 2 questions following. Do you plan to like run a campaign like Carter would, like a campaign using like your office and other things? I imagine your spending is considered similar to the NDP spending, like non-registrable in that sense as a member of parliament representing them. And then like the second part to that is like, are you running a campaign, part A? Part B, do you feel like there's a role or responsibility outside of Calgary Confederation for you? And considering you ran on that, considering the riding, like, do you feel like there's more of a Alberta-wide, strategically, I imagine, Alberta-wide role for you?
Well, look, we're elected to represent constituencies, but our first obligation is kind of to the country. And so we need to be thinking about what we can do in order to support that foundational Canada, that on which all of the rest of this is built. So I don't think it needs to be limited to the area of Calgary Confederation. You ask an interesting question, but I guess I would say, like, because a campaign, immediately in my mind, it jumps to getting out the vote, and you've got this decision day and all of that. And I think, in a way, I'm running a campaign, or will be and have been. But in another way, it's kind of the job of being an MP. It's to go out there, it's to talk to constituents, it's to push forward on things. And yeah, I mean, you mentioned various media interviews. Those are going way beyond Calgary Confederation. We are making sure that constituents are able to see things through advertising. We're doing mail-outs on these matters. We're making sure that people have the arguments for Canada in their hands. That's all work that I'm doing right now, and that's work that'll continue. But other people are doing that work too. Like, it is one of the very interesting things about this campaign that it's this total patchwork, which, like I said, I'm not sure that's all great. It's kind of the consequence of a system that not a lot of thought went into, but there are some positives of it too.
Yeah, the patchwork is painful, but I do think that it is notable that the federal government is involved. It is playing, but it's not the absence of the no side, the absence of the stay side is notable, because we really do, the system as created by the Alberta government kind of has prohibited rules to be played by, like, rules that we would expect to see from our federal government. And it has kind of, I think, unfairly dropped the load onto the Liberal MPs, right? As kind of the representatives of our government. The only member of Parliament in Alberta, Corey Hogan, it has dropped onto you a real burden that is not seemingly shared with the other Conservative MPs. I think Heather McPherson has jumped on, but I'm not seeing it from the Conservative side. And I mean, is there conversations between you and your colleagues across the floor on what they're going to be doing?
Yeah, it's interesting you asked that, because Poilievre has appointed like a point person, Dane Lloyd, for that. And we did reach out to him. Eleanor wrote a note, CC'd me and Matt to Dane, just saying, like, hey, like, we're here, congratulations on your appointment. We all got to fight for the country. But I would say that I think they're still trying to figure out exactly what there is going on and how they're going to approach those things. That was obviously right after the appointment that note went. One-on-one with the MPs that I have closer relationships with on the Conservative side, reached out, said, hey, tell me how I can be helpful. Look, sometimes helpful is just staying out of the way with certain audiences, right? Like I'm certainly, mature enough to appreciate that me, the Liberal MP, is maybe not the most persuasive guy for all audiences, right? Who might not be instantly predisposed to that. So I get that.
No, but this is part of it. Like lead, not leave is right wing. Vote to stay is right wing groups. I mean, you would think that these MPs would have places that they would feel at home campaigning. Are they, would they jump into those roles?
Well, some of them are out there doing stuff. Like in all fairness, some of them are more visible than others. Look, I got opinions on this. I wish everybody would put their oars in the water and row as hard as they could on this particular matter. But this is why I ran, right?
Yeah.
But I'll take whatever I can get in terms of, look, if you're supporting this country and you're willing to do that, like do that. Like I'm not going to judge you based on what my view of your effort should be, but I think that all good Canadians, this is the time to kind of stand up and do something, like to go out, put up a flag, or to go talk to that neighbor who, they seem a little on the fence, and maybe you could nudge them one way or the other, and just to kind of take the best attributes of Canada and be thoughtful in your approaches going forward. And, Stephen, you asked me about like the burden. I don't know. I mean, I don't really feel it as like a burden. I'm not really saying that. Like this is literally the job. Like go out and do these things. That's the job. And that's what I put my hand up for. And that's fine. Like it doesn't bother me at all.
Has your competition in Confederation, Corey, come out as being pro-Canada? And is that a thing that's happened?
You know what? I haven't seen it, but I don't really track it either. I'm sure she is. Like I'm not remotely in doubt about that. Like also it would just be like political suicide. Not have you driven around this? You both live in this riding. Like the Canadian flags must outnumber those standalone Alberta ones 30-1 in this area.
Yeah, at least. I mean, Zain and I both have Canadian flags on our houses, so if people want to find us, they just can drive through Confederation and look for Canadian flags.
The house with the Canadian flag.
Yeah, it's one of those. It's one of those houses where we live in.
Okay.
Yeah. So,
Good.
Way to dox us, Corey. Jesus.
Yeah. Sorry about that, guys.
Yeah. This is
what
interesting.
Else on your mind, Steve? What else?
Stevie Kurtz,
Stevie Kurtz,
as you lovingly refer to me. I mean, this actually ties me into one of the questions I was going to ask you about the number. You're balancing the rules, because you talk about this being the job of being a member of Parliament, which is being in your Confederation and doing the job in Confederation. But you also have a job that is, in Ottawa, doing the Ottawa gig, which, for the time that you guys are in the House of Commons, you are more in Ottawa than you are in Calgary. Mm-hmm. And then you have the parliamentary secretary role, which all three have these kind of draws on your time that are in conflict because you only have 24 hours in a day. Are you managing that, like that pull? How do you balance it so that the people of Calgary Confederation, like Zain and I, who had to wait 5 months to record this fucking podcast, how are you balancing it so that we don't feel like we got screwed, like Zain and I?
Yeah, well, you also have, of course, family, right? I've got
I forgot the family thing.
Yeah. It's the hardest part of the job is trying to figure out that balance, because any one of those jobs that you mentioned, let's just set aside the family for now, could be a full-time job, right? And it is one of those jobs where every hour of the day, you're kind of always feeling guilty you're not using that hour on the other two things at any given time, just because of the moments that we're in as a country too, right? And yeah, as a baseline, you are in Ottawa 25 weeks a year for Parliament, probably a little bit more if you've got to jump in for an event over the summer. You've got travel on behalf of the department a lot of the time. And of course, there's the constituency work. And as an MP, like you were joking about me being the only MP in Alberta. I'm not, obviously. There's a lot of MPs in Alberta, but I am the closest government MP for 2 million Canadians. Like in all of the country, that's the highest number. The next closest is Buckley Belanger in Saskatchewan, right, who has about 1 million. That he's the closest government MP. And so when you're talking about that constituency stuff, there's also this, let's call it constituency 1A, which is you want to be supportive to the entire region. You want to be a conduit to the government for the entire region.
And yet you won't send flags. I mean...
Yeah. Well, 100's a lot. That's all I'm saying. 100's a lot of flags.
Oh, okay.
And yeah, I mean, we're happy to work with people, but that's a lot of flags. And mechanisms of an MP's office don't actually allow me just to spend money on whatever I want to. That's the other component. But yeah, it's a tough balancing act. And what we try to do, obviously, is constituency time is precious because that does tend to be the time. That's almost the time. It's the time left over. It's not the leftover activity. It's the most important activity, but it's the time left over because those other things are like solid block locked, right? Like you must be in Ottawa at certain points. And so in this office, and it's a bit different, I think, than a lot of my colleagues' offices where there's more MPs in the area and the load can be distributed a bit different. I mean, I'm literally doing meetings like 20-minute reset for 10 minutes, 20 minutes reset for 10 minutes, 30 minutes reset for 15 minutes. And those times in between are when you're reviewing the documents for the upcoming minutes and tasking out what happened in those previous meetings. And you really run it. Like there are dozens of meetings a day that you do when you're in the constituency. And you try to keep a balance where you're doing a good chunk, if not the majority, for your constituents and meeting with people on various issues. And then you put in all of the stakeholder stuff that's important in order just to keep things moving for the entire community, right?
Yet, how many times have you met with Zain and I?
Yeah, I mean, just
none.
Just not enough. Yeah,
we're constituents, and Zain has real problems, and he's getting no support.
We can't help with those kinds of problems, though.
Well,
what are they?
What are they?
I mean,
undiagnosed, so I'm just curious what you guys have an opinion. What are they?
Corey, do you often find yourself with memory lapses where you don't know you need to travel until you're already in the city, so you can't record because you traveled, you didn't know you were going to have to travel?
Guys, I'm in Toronto. I can't record today. How many times have we gotten that message?
I'm in Toronto a lot. I'm needed. Yeah, I'm sorry. I'm sorry that people need me.
No one questions.
I'm sorry that DEI was a thing for 3 years and I was needed in parts of the country.
No one questions that you were needed. You were needed. What we question is
that you didn't know you were needed until the day of. Yeah.
It's the absolute shock of I woke up in Toronto. Like, are they drugging you and putting you on a plane?
I haven't experienced a life of privilege and riches. Okay, how would I know how travel works? Okay, this was new to me.
That's fair.
That's new to me.
Yeah. Poor guy.
Time I got on a plane.
Just a guy from Mount Pleasant struggling to get by. Yeah, for sure.
Okay, so I feel like that's sarcasm coming from my member of parliament against one of his own constituents.
Well, but seriously, like, I do want to mention, like, you talk about constituent meetings, like, the volume is pretty huge, right? And
they're 10 minutes a piece generally? Is that what they're scheduled for?
Usually 15 or 30, depending on the subject matter, if there's materials in advance.
How do you brief for them? How do you brief for, like, and they could be like, they're not even thematically similar, I imagine.
Oh, yeah, no, you're like pinging from.
So what's the deal? Like, how, I'm actually now curious. Now I'm finally curious again on the podcast. How does that work?
Well, the night before, okay, so much of the legwork is done by the team. Like every MP has a staff, and I've got an incredible staff that do incredible work, and they will have conversations and they will gather documents ahead of time. And often, by the way, to the point about like the time is limited. Usually what happens is if a constituent reaches out, it's like, obviously there's always like an urgency component to it all. Like what are any kind of deadlines happening and all of that. But usually their first conversation is with somebody in the office to gather that information and to pull it all in. And that can usually happen relatively soon. But I'm booking out, if it's not a time-sensitive matter, like months. Because that's just the Well, I mean, the queue is hundreds long of these conversations, right? But when it comes to it, the night before, I will read through my schedule for the next day, which has all of like the documents that are attached to it. And I'll just kind of take in everything that's there. They're usually pretty short. The team will always provide a summary, but always like the documents that were sent to. Yeah. Often those documents are just a couple pages long. Sometimes they're dozens. Just really depends on the issue and the complexity of it. And then in that reset time I was talking about, I will reread or skim, more accurately, those documents just before to be like, oh, right. This is that thing, which I read the night before. And that's the way I tend to approach it. It's also the only safe way to do it, because if your meetings run long and you're going meeting to meeting, you can't really count on that time in between. And this is an important meeting for people. You don't want to waste 15 minutes of their meeting just trying to reorient yourself to their issues.
On what's up.
You want to make So you want to make sure you've kind of read through it all the night before. And often, by the way, I kind of breezed over it, but when the team is meeting with it, they will let me know these meetings are upcoming, and I can track all of the stakeholders. And if I have questions going in, I will arm them with questions and ask them oh, can you ask them this and that and the other thing before we even get to that particular meeting, just to try to make it more productive. But the way to think of it, Zain, is it's like a stakeholder operation. There's just under 10 people who have to go through these various processes to make sure we're engaging and understanding the various matters. And is there an action item? Is it just to make sure I know their opinion on things? And then the big part of it that follows, and it is the big part, is it's one thing to have a meeting, and I'll have a staff person in the meeting with me, and I'll talk to them after, and we'll action it to the various government departments if appropriate. And then we got to follow up with them. And by them, I don't mean the constituents, although I do mean them too. I mean, we've got to make sure we actually get responses back from people, and that we've confirmed either receipt or that something is happening. And then there's workflows. There's lots of workflows that come out of it that you just never see. They all concentrate around that 15-minute meeting, half-hour meeting.
So what you're describing is hell. This is hell. Or is that just my reaction to it?
No, it's not hell, but it's a good bridge into the Ottawa time, because the meeting can generally only happen in Calgary, although it is Zoom is always an option, right?
Do people come in with
a lot of the other? A lot of the other work happens in Ottawa. While I'm sitting on house duty or in my office, I can do some of that other stuff.
I wonder if people, regardless of their situation, have an expectation that as soon as they're meeting with the MP, you come into that room with a solution. You solve their problem. I'm curious, that expectation versus what the reality is of many of these things. I'm assuming there's certain things you can, within a 15-minute period, get onto a resolution track really quickly, and others that there are not. I'm curious how conversations like that go when people come in with an expectation.
Yeah, well, it really depends on the work. Some of it, a lot of it is what we refer to in constituency offices as casework, right? So I haven't heard back on my immigration file. I've got this problem with the Canada Revenue Agency. Service Canada hasn't let me know about employment insurance. And for that kind of stuff, if it's outside of the windows that are defined by the government in terms of how long a response is supposed to take, we have pretty good ability of getting updates on cases and being able to push the system to be not more timely in the sense of we can get you in a fast lane, but if they're already in the slow lane, if they haven't hit their commitments to you,
we can clarify.
We can help get those things a little bit faster. So that's the kind of stuff that...
Can you provide flags?
We can, on occasion, if we have supply, we can provide flags too.
And let me just do a quick audit of the country's dishes, or
just one, and it's the Canada and the Canadian.
Oh,
flag,
Canada. Yeah. Okay, so not interested. Okay.
But a lot of the others, going into that meeting, to the point is, I'll get the brief or the materials from my team, from the constituent or the stakeholder, but I'll also get something from my team that's here's the programs we've checked, and there's pre-work that's done, right?
Sure.
And what I often tell constituents, and there's, and fair enough, I'm not judging, people also don't necessarily always know what an MP can and can't do, right? And the distinction between being a member of parliament and being the government. And I can't really force a government department to do anything. I can't even force my own department to do it, because we're Canada and our systems are run by laws and processes, and that's the way it should be. I can't really force outside of that box unless something's happened and it's already outside of the box. Then I can get it back in, right? But what I always tell people is I can promise effort, not results. I'm happy to have the conversations. I'm happy to help make connections for them. But I can't guarantee an outcome. For example, if you've got a really cool project that you just want to talk to Heritage about or something like that.
And so do you leave your constituents disappointed every time, or just most of the time?
Hopefully not that often. But, it is important that you're honest with them about, you can't, the worst thing would be, I never did that because of the path I took up was a government-y path, right? I was a DM, I did all this stuff. But I think the absolute worst thing would be just telling them what they want to hear in the meeting and telling them you're going to get these things done for them, because all you're doing is 6 months from now making an extremely disappointed person, right?
Yeah.
So you need to be pretty candid about what you're able to do and not able to do.
Disappoint quickly. Now, would you say that that's also the relationship advice that you have for people starting out in long-term relationships at this point? Disappoint quickly, or
Yeah, what does our member of parliament think about that?
It's about being an advocate, right? It's not about disappointing. It's about saying, like, yeah, I can help you with it. My job is to help you with the system. Like, I'm your ombudsman here, but the ombudsman can't guarantee outcomes. And,
yeah, right.
And that's just the reality of it.
so
talk to me
disappoint
about hosting.
fast.
Talk to me about hosting a shit ton of your colleagues, and then remind me, was the PM around when like all those folks were? Because I'm curious in two ways.
Yeah.
Them coming to Alberta, novel, interesting, like that volume, really interesting. What did they make of this place? Second part is like, I need to know how people are presenting themselves to the PM in those situations, as like the race to get into cabinet is also its own thing. So I want to talk about those two dynamics, whether they're one conversation or two. We can start wherever you'd like to go on my inquiry.
Okay, so you're talking about Stampede. We had a
talking about Stampede.
We
Yeah,
had a ton of Liberal MPs out for Stampede. 40 people came out, which meant there were 41 Liberal MPs here over the course of Stampede, which I don't know for sure, but I think it's probably more than there were Conservative MPs for Stampede. And we were everywhere. It's just a cast of characters out. And that was very cool, and people were very good at going around. It's always interesting when somebody comes from out of town to Stampede, because
especially for the first time, I imagine.
Well, if you're from out of Calgary and you hear Stampede, you probably think an event in a specific location that runs over several days.
Yeah.
And yeah, that's the Midway, and that's the agricultural fair, and that's a lot of the cool things that are happening down on the grounds. But that's not what a Calgarian means when they say come to Stampede.
Not at all.
It is literally hundreds of events all over the city, run from everything from the smallest community group to the largest multinational organizations. And especially that first weekend of Stampede, you are just going from reception to reception to reception to reception, and one's run by an agriculture interest, and another is run by manufacturers, or you name it. Like literally anything you can think of, there's going to be a Stampede event for. And so myself, Eleanor, and Matt, we encouraged everyone to come out to Alberta, not just because of the times we're in, but also because it's just an incredible opportunity to connect with all of your stakeholders outside of like that formal meeting structure. And especially when you're an MP or a parsec or a minister, that can be a very formal meeting structure with lots of people on each side of the table. So you get to know each other, and you get to set up future meetings and get like on a different wavelength with them. And so yeah, a lot of people took us up on that offer, and we had just tons of MPs out. And I had a bit of line of sight to their calendars. They were doing everything. They were meeting with all sorts of different stakeholder groups, depending on who they were. And one of the MPs who came out was the Prime Minister. He came out the day before Stampede for the announcement with Alberta with the pipeline, and he came out the last weekend of Stampede, where we had a whole bunch of stuff going on, including he came to a community barbecue in Hillhurst Sunnyside, which was pretty cool. And you were there, Zain, just by coincidence.
It's where my kid goes to daycare.
You had no idea he was there. You were just there for that, which kind of speaks to that community element. It was very cool. But yeah, it was folks out meeting with other folks. And the funny thing about Stampede, which you can both confirm, is half the people you're talking to aren't actually from Calgary. Like, it's everybody descending on Calgary, and it becomes the world's, certainly Canada's biggest networking event.
I want to get to the cabinet stuff in a sense. I do want to maybe pick on your previous strategist role in a sense to help me analyze this next question, though, which is, Carter, I'll get your take on this too. We've always said the first weekend of Stampede, around the bend until Tuesday, is all politics. I'm wondering if the PM showing up on the second weekend, not whether that was a mistake, but whether we're actually now Stampede is just becoming like 10 days of politics, and we're maybe redefining that first weekend. And I'm curious your experience, Carter, because it was more immersive than mine. And I'm curious about your experience, Corey, because it was more immersive than mine, if it's now all political all the time. Because the conventional sense was there's fatigue sets in after Tuesday on all things political, and then we kind of ride out the next 6 days or 5 days, and then it's over. I'm now curious if that is kind of changing from like a political lobbying, grassroots connection, advocacy perspective. Both your thoughts on this.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think it's changing, but I think when you're the prime minister, you're enough of a center of gravity that it's an event whether you come during Stampede or not, right? So like he creates his own weather. He shows up with so many, like when the circus is in town, the circus is in town. Like all of the media is there, everyone's there. It's just such a big deal. I definitely think that Stampede is front loaded in terms of the political events. Around the middle of the week, it starts to become more corporate events, and by the end, it's really just community events. Like, you can only do this for so long before everyone gets really fatigued. And when I was at the university, I did 37 events my last year at the university when I was like the VP of Community Engagement.
You attended 37 events.
I attended
in
37.
Your role. Right.
And I remember thinking, wow, that's crazy. That's the high score. I'm never going to do more events than that. That was nuts. And I was so tired, and I was just like way over the top. My first year as an MP, I did 50. I was on course for 49, and when you hit 49, you're like, I got to get that last one to hit 50. You know, get it to 50. Because again, I thought, that's a lot. I want to be able to say I did 50 events. Rookie numbers. I did 71 events this year, to say nothing of the other things I had to do. We didn't even talk about, because we kind of pinged off it, like my work for the department. Like I was doing a wildfire update at one point. I had media interviews on other components. I was talking about forestry with stakeholders. And that was all fit in around 71 events in 10 days, you know? And so there's a lot. But if I look at those 71 events, 55 were before Wednesday.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah.
So still front-loaded. Carter, same experience for you?
Well, I left. I got out of there. As soon as I heard the prime minister was coming, I was like, I'm out of here. I don't need that kind of pressure. You know, Mark, back off, man. Like, I don't need the pressure of the prime minister coming to me and asking for advice again.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
for
so
sure. What should I do?
I was like, I'm out of here. I can't handle it. I went away for the second weekend. But I probably did, I think I was under 10. The under 10 for sure. Which is the smart play, right? Like don't be a member of parliament when you're not a member of parliament, say. That's the rule. But I think
that's good advice.
I think when Joe Clark was member of parliament for Calgary Centre, which is a large part of
Alison Redford, just so we can work on the count as well.
No, I'm not. I'm doing the Joe Clark thing.
Okay, fine.
I think Joe did more than 71 events, and I think you should try and get to at least 80 next year.
I was talking to the vice chair of the Stampede board, Cherie. She did almost 300 in that same time period, because they go to literally everything. And so
and they just they've got these cars that just park out in as they need to. It's just crazy.
Yeah, it's pretty intensive. So to get back to where we started, like the Stampede's not one thing. And so everybody comes out and everybody does that big networking thing. And everybody wants to make sure that they're doing the things they're supposed to be doing. And one of those is connecting with folks, which kind of gets you back to your cabinet question, I guess.
Yeah, I'm curious. I'm really curious.
Look, I think that's always one of those things that's in the back of everyone's mind all of the time. Like, it's any job. How do you do your job well to try to get the next job, right? But it's not so overt. Like, people aren't sitting there being like, I'm going to do this. And I think that there's a certain distastefulness if you were trying to do that.
Trying to constantly audition.
Yeah. I in some ways, I feel the same way about cabinet sweepstakes as I do about the federal government's role in this Alberta referendum. Like, the best defense for the federal government in this referendum is make the country work, right? You make the country work. That's good for unity, whether it be in Alberta or Quebec or anywhere. Make the country work. Just do the job.
Yeah.
And if you want to be a cabinet minister, just do the job. Just do the job. Like, be a competent MP. Take initiative. Go out and do the things. And if we live in a world of cause and effect, that'll be enough.
I'm curious, like, the dynamics that members of parliament have amongst each other. In that sense, like, not when the PM is present, like, I'm sure those dynamics are kind of like different, where you're maybe trying to like audition, especially when I don't think people realize how limited FaceTime can be with the prime minister. As a member of parliament, it's not like you're on maybe on first name basis, but it's you're not hanging. Like, you're not having lunch every day. You're not texting them all the time. You're not hanging with them, and so.
No. a non-cabinet MP measures their time with the PM in minutes per month, and a cabinet member measures it in minutes per week. Like, the guy is everywhere. He's meeting with everybody.
Yeah.
You know, it's kind of like what I was saying about the constituency office. Just imagine that times a million. Like, there's so much activity that concentrates on 10-minute meetings, and that's what you do. And yeah, so I will confess, like, it can be a bit silly sometimes. Like, you can see when the prime minister's there, everyone's like, "Oh, prime minister," and
even at that Hillhurst breakfast, it was crazy. Just to kind of just see the tour of people, and it wasn't like, obviously you had to be there, Eleanor had to be there, but it was just like the ring of like the mayor and mayor of Edmonton and the MLA. It was just like this orbit just traveling with them for an hour. It was very comical to watch.
Well,
and no one gave a shit about anyone else. It was like very funny.
You really appreciate that we are a G7 nation when the prime minister's in town. Like the scale of
like
the
the
whole
snipers
system,
and every it's crazy.
That's it. This is exactly what I'm saying. Like, this doesn't happen for a premier. This doesn't happen for another. You know, this is like, oh yeah, right. This is a huge effing deal that this guy is here, and like, his time is incredibly valuable. So yeah, I think when the prime minister's there, people want to make sure they're using those moments. I'm kind of perverse in that I tend to be the guy who's like, I'm not waiting in line to tell him how great he was or whatever. Yeah. Maybe I should do more of that. Frankly,
you have a podcast.
That's what this podcast is used for.
Yeah,
we can talk about Mark Carney stories.
I'm sure he's an avid listener. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm sure he is. Yeah.
What else is he going to do on all those flights?
He's on a run right now, and he's listening to this, and he's laughing because we just mentioned. He's like, "Oh, you got me." That's exactly what happened.
Mark,
it's very meta.
Still call him Mark. Marky Carnes, as the people closest to him, please use that.
We know.
Just use that. Use that.
That's good.
People closest to him call him Marky Carnes. Just like do it.
Yeah. Okay. I will.
Yeah. Parliamentary secretary for life in that case. Just so you know.
No. I think in best case scenario, parliamentary secretary for life. In that.
Do MPs compete with each other when they're not there? That's what. Like, and I'm sorry to make this is like gossipy, but who gives a shit? I'll ask it anyways. Like, when you have 40 of them. Sure. In a non-parliamentary caucus retreat or one of those sort of like more conventional settings. Like, I'm curious about the dynamics and the competition within each other, even if there's no one there to assess the audition. I am curious how that kind of plays out, if at all.
No, Liz, look, I mean, I'll say this. It's a bunch of alphas. It's why people end up in politics to begin with. So everybody's kind of, the center of their own world. We all are, but only more so when you're a politician, right?
Right.
But no, it's like, I got to tell you, it's so collegial. It's wildly collegial. Like, everybody's got everybody's back, and it's so nice because we're all doing like a very hard job that you describe, where we're away from our families for so long, and we're balancing these other priorities, and we got to do this, work with committees and all of that. And everyone is really, really nice to each other. And I also think, frankly, if you weren't, people would be like, why are you being? Nah, it'd be like, I think it'd be more politely self-corrective than that. It'd be more like,
people would self-correct, or people would call you out on it.
Man, everyone's trying to, there's such a wonderful cast of characters, and we're all trying to do so much. And I think that most of, I don't really have anything bad to say about anyone, but mostly because everyone is trying so hard to be part of a team. Like, it is like, politics is a team sport, and to that point, like, if you're not acting like a team player, people are gonna, they're gonna tell you.
Yeah, but did you have too many players on the field? Like, at your breakfast, every time I turned around, I ran into a new MP.
Right? Well, that was so nice. But look, actually, this is almost the point. They were all there to support me because they're super nice people. And they were in town, so they're like, well, I'm going to go to Corey's breakfast because Corey's my colleague, Corey's my friend. I'm gonna hang out with him for a thing. And if I have guilt about that, it's like, I'm surrounded by people, lobbyists, stakeholders, constituents, right? And I barely got to talk to most of them over the course of Stampede. I wish I could have just hung out with them on the Midway grounds most of the time. They were so good to come out at this moment, and because I asked them to too, and I didn't have enough time to spread around to all of the colleagues. But I hope any of them listening, just love you guys for coming. That was so good of you.
So Zain, what I'm hearing is the politically correct answer. What I think he's trying to get across is there were too many men on the field, especially men.
No.
No, that's what I heard. That's what I heard through the lines. the line.
Look, they're all self-starters. They all went out. They all chatted with their various, constituents, stakeholders, that stuff.
Well, there was a lot of them, and it was
they also have
like
flags. They have flags available. So
yeah, they were. I had
do
a bunch
have
of people
flags.
offer me a Canadian flag, even though I wasn't their constituent.
Well, that's really nice of them.
Yeah,
Yeah.
So it was wild, just a little different experience with the more professional members of Parliament.
Oh, okay. Well, we're a new office still.
Carter,
We're still trying to figure it out.
It's just like my trips to our dear friend Corey.
Zane, you've entirely...
No, Carter, I've got 3% battery life on my laptop. Because, like Toronto trips, I didn't know we were recording.
None of us caught any of this.
As the Minister of Podcasts, I'd like to thank Corey Hogan for joining us again today. Corey, would you say this has been the greatest hour of your professional career, or the greatest hour of your professional career?
I think the real highlight was those burned 5 minutes right at the very start. Where
Available on our Discord to subscribers only.
I don't think so. No.
Hey, where's
You're back.
everybody? Yeah, what's going on? I was...
It was a better ending without you, so...
I know. Probably figured I'm not...
We probably just ended there. Yeah, Are you kidding me right now?